Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Agree to Disagree. I'm your host, Jack Costello. With me, as always, is Dean Gutic, Noah Schwartz, and Aiden Jard. We got a great show lined up today. We're going to talk some March Madness and the NFL free agency, or what I really should call it is the Bill Belichick spending spree. So it should be exciting to talk about. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and check us out on Spotify as well. Gentlemen, how are we today?
Oh, wonderful.
Go
It's
Orange,
been
baby.
quite a day.
Gonna do better.
Yes. So we're going to talk a little March Madness with, of course, the tournament beginning this Friday. It should be very exciting. And let's get right into it. So Dean's got the Syracuse logo behind him, so I'm going to let Dean start it off. What are your thoughts on the upcoming tournament? Who do you have as your possible winners, and who do you think can maybe pull off some upsets and go further than expected?
First of all, shout out to the Orange to making the tournament. It's Jim Boeheim season, and I'm sure Noah knows that. Another deep tournament run. That zone defense is going to give people chills. I'm not going to go further into that, but I'll tell you this. All I'm going to say is my Final Four, I got the Zags, Alabama, Ohio State, and Illinois. I think the Santa Barbara Gauchos is a team to watch. The 12th seed Gauchos in the western region of the bracket could be a team that make a deep run. I have them in my bracket making a deep run. I think Santa Barbara could definitely beat Creighton. They could beat West Virginia or Ohio. I'm sure that the Gauchos are a team to 100% watch in this bracket. And for some reason, Georgetown too. I don't know why. It's just that Ewing Magic as of late has been rolling. And
yeah, baby.
I know you love to hear that as a Knicks fan. I could see Georgetown having a decent run, but my team to watch is the Santa Barbara Gauchos. And, of course, as a Bias fan, the Orange. Any Jim Boeheim team in March is a dangerous team to run into.
Yeah, Dean, you're right about that. Syracuse always throws problems at people with the zone. For my Final Four, I got Illinois, and I think they're going to win the whole thing. Love the Illinois Fighting Illini.
Really?
Gonzaga.
Kofi.
Baylor as my third Final Four team. And then this last bracket with Michigan and Alabama, that region, I'm totally stuck there. I haven't submitted my bracket finally yet, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. But maybe Texas, they might be the one team that I take. But I don't love any of the teams in that bracket, and I don't think any of them have a real shot of winning the whole thing, especially Michigan without Isaiah Livers. Potentially, I don't think they have a real shot. And if you ask me about a team that could potentially make a deeper run, it's tough. I like UConn a lot. I think they have a chance at a 17. James Bouknight is one of the most explosive players in the country. They play Maryland, and I think that's actually a tough first game. If Maryland wins, I could see them making a run as well. What's on the team? Oklahoma State is a 4 seed. They're dangerous. Kate Cunningham, we know how great he can be. I think to me in this tournament, though, there's a clear separation between the top 3 teams and everybody else, especially without Isaiah Livers, as I mentioned, from Michigan. You have Baylor, you have Gonzaga, and you have Illinois, and you can take whichever one of those 3 teams you like. But I think after that, there's a clear divide between everybody else. And in that last bracket, I could see a team that nobody expects getting to the Final Four. We'll see how that all shakes out. But to me, there's 3 teams, and then everybody else is a step behind.
Yeah, I think personally, I'm always a one to pick the underdogs. So I am going underdog heavy this year. I have 5 teams in my Sweet 16 that are 10 seed or higher. I'm picking Ohio, Eastern Washington, Michigan State, Utah State, and Liberty all to make the Sweet 16.
Michigan State's another team, Aiden. I was going to mention them. I really like the Spartans. And
Michigan
I think
State getting an 11 seed is an absolute just like that is ridiculous.
They were underseeded for sure. I thought they were like a 9.
Secondly, like that just completely screws BYU. BYU is a fantastic team, and they're playing a team that probably deserves to be a 7 seed. You know?
Yeah.
This is a team that's beat 3 of the 1 seeds. So they're not a bad team. And then in terms of the other guys, you know, Ohio and Eastern Washington, I can definitely see both of them upsetting their respective seeds at the beginning. They're playing Virginia and Kansas, both teams that have struggled with some COVID problems recently. It's going to be questionable to see if they can get back. And both teams are pretty good, but my big Cinderella team, I feel like it's impossible to pick against them. I'm going with Loyola Chicago. Sister Jean, they did it a couple years ago. They're going to do it again. Not making it to the Final Four, though. I have my Final Four as Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, and Houston. I don't have Illinois coming out of that bracket. I do think that they're a good team, but I'm basing the entirety of my judgment off of them from what I saw against Ohio State. Ohio State is a far inferior team to Illinois, and they kept it very close in the Big Ten championship. And if they can do that, then I think Loyola can beat them. So personally, I have Illinois going out in the round of 32. And then I feel like at this point it's locked and loaded. I got Gonzaga winning it all.
I'll make this point to you. One of the things that I always really value in college basketball is having multiple superstars, because I think there's so many teams out there that are so reliant on just one guy, and that we see that across the country. What makes Illinois really special is that they have two guys who are just studs in obviously Ayo Dosunmu and then Kofi Coburn. They are two of the 10 best players in America, no question. And the fact that you have two guys like that on the same team really makes them dangerous, because if one guy has a quiet night, the other guy can make up for and pick up some of the slack. I always really value multiple stars on a college team, and I think they have exactly what it takes to go really far. That's the only reason why I like them so much.
And the other thing I just want to say is, as you can see from this photo behind me, I will be rooting for Drexel in round 1 against Illinois. Again, I think Drexel got a terrible seed. They didn't deserve a 16 seed as a conference champion. I think that should be not allowed. If you're a conference champion, you should at least, be a 15 seed. That's just my personal opinion. But Drexel, if you guys don't know, their head coach, Zach Spiker, is an Ithaca alum. So we're all rooting for him. Yeah, he went here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He played basketball for 2 years at Ithaca.
Oh. Okay.
And now he's the head coach of the first Drexel basketball team to make March Madness in 25 years. So that's crazy. Awesome. Go Bombers, go Dragons. Hoping they can beat Illinois, not counting on it. Yeah, but, UMBC did it against Virginia, and that was even less likely. So
that was great.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's some interesting takes there. My Final Four, I'm going with I think Gonzaga, and I have Gonzaga. They're going to make it to the finals. I think they're going to beat Michigan. And I actually have on the other side, I have Ohio State versus Oklahoma State. I'm going with Oklahoma State to win that one, mainly because Cade Cunningham, he's the best player in college basketball right now. So I think that has a huge impact. So I think the finals is going to be Gonzaga, Oklahoma State, and Gonzaga is going to win it all, because they're easily the best team in college basketball.
Yeah,
crazy. First teams in 1976 to go completely undefeated.
Yeah, if they can do it. And on that topic, we've seen some fantastic teams go undefeated in the regular season and then not win. We've seen teams that have been locked as like a guarantee to win March Madness get eliminated in the first couple of rounds. We saw it with UVA a couple of years ago against UMBC.
I thought that was Duke 2 years ago. I thought there was no shot they weren't winning.
Duke too, but UVA was seen as one of the best college basketball teams ever, and then they lost to a 16 seed. So one thing I love about March Madness is because you're getting 64 teams in there, it's so unpredictable. When you have the college football championship with 4 teams, which team is going to win going into it. There's only 4 teams. You have a 25% chance of picking the right one. In March Madness, you don't. It is a crapshoot, honestly. Gonzaga has the best odds of winning, but it could just as easily be Baylor or Michigan or Illinois or Ohio State or Houston or anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many teams that it could be.
The thing I really enjoy about the NCAA tournament, a lot more so than like the NBA playoffs, is that even though obviously it's single elimination, you win or go home. It's but there's a lot more chances. You could see it's the possibility to see an upset is a lot stronger, and it's easier to have a Cinderella story. In the NBA, it's very rare you see big upsets in the first round. It doesn't happen very often, and even when they upset, everyone still believes there's no shot they're winning a title. So it's like at college, you have that like Cinderella story. Nobody thought this was possible. So I like that aspect of it.
Well, part of the reason too, Jack, is it's so hard to scout because there's 350 something teams in Division One.
Yeah.
And you're taking these top line programs who are the top seeds every year, and you're pitting them against these 16 seeds who come from whatever conference. They could be just a random conference champion. They could end up winning their conference tournament. They get into March Madness, and that team has never seen 1 second of that other group's game, right? They've never seen them. They've never really had the chance to scout. So it's all very quick. And you take a team like Illinois, right? And you mentioned Drexel. Illinois maybe has seen 1 second of Drexel play this year. Well, all of a sudden, they've got to scout them, figure them all out in just a few days, and be ready to play a game against a team they're really not prepared for. So that's what makes
And then if they manage to win that, then they need to do the same thing in less time against an 8 or a 9 seed, a team that's twice as good theoretically.
Right.
Yeah. So it's so interesting. Yeah. The fact that you get these, non-power 5 conferences actually competing for a title is so interesting. Like, in what other sport is Gonzaga going to be considered an elite team? Right? Even in football, it doesn't matter how good of a team they assemble, they're never going to get the schedule to make the playoffs.
It's guys, and even like the teams that go undefeated, like a UCF or somebody, they don't even make it.
Yeah.
So here you have a way better shot just because you're getting the opportunity. Just that's all it takes. You need one game and that's it. And it happens sometimes. So
it's football. It's different. It's basketball is way more parity. It's more unpredictable, as we've talked about. Football. You mentioned UCF. Even a team like Cincinnati last year, undefeated before the UGA game, but they didn't get their chance. And one of the main reasons is why, of course, is other than a small playoff, is the committee in football is different. They go with the Power 5 team. Whereas in basketball, it's completely different ball game. You got of the field of 64, you got all these teams that can win. You got a bunch of upsets. We've even seen, like, for example, Syracuse years ago with Malachi Richardson. We've seen teams like that are a double-digit seed that have gone far in the tournament. And, you don't usually see that in college football, obviously, let alone the small playoff. Whereas in basketball, you see all these teams that you don't expect come right at you and come out of nowhere.
All right, I got a question for you guys then. I want to know what your big upset is, and I'm saying it's got to be a 13 seed or higher winning their first game. Which one are you putting money on?
Hold on. Let me find it.
Yeah, I gotta look at the bracket now.
Look at the bracket. Hold on.
I was gonna say for a second one of my it was a 12 seed, but you said 13.
Actually, all right, 12 seed or higher.
12 seed or higher. Okay.
I said Santa Barbara, and I had Winthrop beating Villanova, but besides that, I would probably go with Ohio beating Virginia as an upset for me as well.
I like it. I like that one too.
I'm looking at my bracket right now. I don't like early on. I don't really have a lot of crazy upsets. I think the biggest one I have, I was gonna go UCLA. I think they're gonna beat BYU.
You think UCLA, not Michigan State?
Nah, I'm gonna go.
He thinks UCLA wins the play-in, right?
Dang.
Yeah, if they win the play-in.
My personal one, I got Liberty beating Oklahoma State. I don't think Cade Cunningham's enough to carry the team. I think he's fantastic. But
I would take North Texas to beat Purdue. I don't think Purdue's that good.
I think I also have
Mean
that
Green's
one
got good defense
in my bracket.
Yeah. Well, also, actually, in the second round, I have where is it? I have Georgetown beating FSU.
Ooh.
You have Georgetown going to the Sweet 16, Jack? Wow. All right.
I don't hate that pick.
Georgetown
is a good team.
They've been rolling as of late.
Patrick has done an unbelievable job.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Because they were playing in Madison Square Garden, and it's like Patrick Ewing's Madison Square Garden magic has not left. And
it's not his Madison Square Garden. They don't know who he is. No.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't. Well, next time they better make sure they know who he is. That's all you got to say.
They don't know who Patrick Ewing is.
Come on, how do you not know Patrick Ewing? Patrick Ewing, that's the building that Patrick Ewing built right there.
Disrespect. All right.
Let's talk some football.
Yeah. All right. Before we move on, though, is anything else anyone wants to mention in terms of
Go Drexel.
Go Cuse.
Go Bombers. When's our time coming?
Yes.
All right. We're going to move on to NFL free agency. So the new league year officially starts tomorrow as we're recording this on Tuesday, the 16th. So players were beginning to negotiate yesterday, and deals have been agreed to. And we've seen a lot happen early on. Obviously, I think we can all agree the biggest surprise has been, we haven't seen this in a while, is Bill Belichick has gone on quite the spending spree. This is
crazy.
It's unlike
I've never seen
Bill
like this.
Belichick has
like
spent what, 120 million so far. He spent 400 million the past 5 years combined.
Yeah, Belichick's gone on quite the spending spree. What are your guys' thoughts on that? And do you think the signings they made are going to help the Patriots?
I actually love what they did.
Oh, same. Yeah.
I'll put it this way.
Completely revamped offense.
I don't think they are necessarily an elite team. I don't think they're the favorites in the AFC East. Definitely not.
Agreed.
That still is with you,
Yeah,
Buffalo.
baby, JEPS.
But
Okay.
what I think was really important for New England after Tom left was just for Brady, for Belichick, excuse me, to just be respectable, to just be good enough to compete. And this roster, like, they have their issues, but you know they're going to have a good defense, and they're improved there. Jalen Mills is a nice addition for their corners. You know they're going to be really good on special teams. They always are. They're going to be well coached. So it was really about how could they fix their offense. And guess what? The offensive line is going to be good again. It always is. And now you've got a real running game with Damian Harris and Sony Michel.
And
you've got
possibly Chris Carson, who reports are saying they're looking at Chris Carson too.
Oh, are they? Okay, well, he'll be a nice fit if they can bring him in. He's a good running back.
Or Chris Carson. You're so good. Don't go there and only get a third of the carries.
And Nelson Aguilar, he had his best season last year. And obviously, we talked about Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, both really, really nice young tight ends. The Patriots are a lot better than they were 36, 48 hours ago, and they look like a playoff team. I'm not sure they're a Super Bowl contender. I don't think they're going to, shock anybody through the whole postseason. But if they were a wild card team and they won 10 or 11 games this year, I would not be surprised by that. I
agree.
think that's where they are.
And I think
that's really what I think they're going to be.
The big problem a lot of people have had with this team is like, yeah, you got Hunter Henry, you got Jonnu Smith, you got Nelson Aguilar, but you have Cam Newton at quarterback. We saw how terrible he was last year. And to that, I say two things. First of all, Cam Newton was throwing to Ryan Izzo and N'Keal Harry the whole season. That's not a recipe for success. Tom Brady had trouble throwing. Tom Brady had trouble throwing to them. And of course, Cam Newton's going to have trouble. So that's problem number one. So now that he has actual receivers, people who can actually catch the ball, I think this is a much different story. Second thing, the Patriots still have about $50 million of cap space, which means they still have enough to
they don't have that much, do they?
I think that's what I read. Maybe that was before the Henry signing. But they still have quite a bit of cap space, and they have enough cap space to still trade for Deshaun Watson.
Oh my God, stop it.
Please stop that right now.
I'm not saying I expect it, but it is not out of the question. Reports are saying that Deshaun has added the Patriots to his list of potential candidates. And you can see a player like Deshaun wanting to go work with the Patriots. If that happens, the Patriots become probably the second favorite in the East. If it doesn't, I still like the Bills in the AFC East. But if it's going to be a good season for the Patriots, they're going to be a wild card team at the very least.
Interesting you say that. I'm gonna. Here's my thoughts on this. Do I think the signings they made are good? Yeah, I think they completely revamped the offense. They added 2 tight ends. They added 2 new receivers. The running game should be solid. But at the end of the day, Cam Newton, I saw this last year. I don't care. I'm taking out the weapons. The guy last year couldn't throw further than 10 yards down the field. His mechanics are awful. He is not comfortable in the pocket, and and Dean and I both think this. I know we've said this in the past. He just looks completely washed, and I don't think you can get into the playoffs with Cam Newton as your quarterback. And another aspect I'm going to look at. I'm sure I can see you guys disagreeing with me on this, but Matt Patricia is back. He's back on the staff. Does he have the title? Does he have the title of defensive coordinator this season?
No, he's like a consultant.
No,
or
I think
something.
he's
He has no
defensive
power.
assist. He's a defensive assistant.
Because I'll say
Yeah,
this:
nothing.
before he got the Detroit job, New England had their defense was not that great when he was like for the last couple of years while he was the defensive coordinator, and as soon as he left, they became a top tier once again. So having him back, I don't know, that could possibly hurt them.
Oh,
'cause
come
I feel
on. Come on. That's Steve
Belichick-
Belichick.
I disagree.
Belichick
No.
trusts him, and he has his respect. And I feel Patricia has not done a good job in the last 5 years. So I can see their defense slightly being a little worse. But
Well, I don't know. They're getting. Remember how many guys opted out? Did they have like 6 guys opt out on their defense? I mean, they're getting Dante Hightower back. They're getting all these guys.
They're getting Hightower and Chung back. Those are the 2 big names.
Right.
A couple other people, but those were the 2 major ones. This defense is star-studded. This is
and there's still so many rumors they're going to
this
trade.
is one of the best defenses ever assembled on paper.
No,
Just
I want to go that far.
skill wise, they are, because they still currently have Gilmore. He's on the block. If he gets traded, it might be a different story. But just look at the talent they have on paper. They have Hightower, they have Chung, they have McCourty, they have Gilmore, they have J.C. Jackson. They just got Judon. They just got Godshow. They have a crazy team right now. They got Mims. Not Mims. What's his name? Mills.
Yeah,
right.
Mills.
So, is it, like Saxonville level great? Is it 2015 Broncos level? Probably not. But this is going to be a year to remember for the Patriots defense.
And on top of it, remember, they're also the best coach team in the league. They're the most disciplined team in the league. So even if the talent isn't, I don't think it's what Aiden is talking about. I don't think it's that great. But even if it's in the top, let's say 8 in the league talent-wise, and I would go there, they're going to be right in the top 5 anyway, just because Belichick can move you up a couple spots just with his coaching and the way he puts these teams together. I mean, his system, it's tough to learn, it's tough to remember, it's tough to understand. But once you get a hang of it, I mean, you're gonna show out. And we've seen so many guys that they've been in New England, like a Trey Flowers, for example, star pass rusher. He goes to Detroit. He hasn't been the same guy. He's really never been the Pro Bowler that we all thought he would be when he went there. There are so many guys that just fit directly in that New England system. And I could see Matthew Judon, who's been a really good player for a while already, have his best season and really just become one of the elite players in the league under Belichick. So I really like what New England did. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying that they're going to win the AFC. They're not going to win the division or anything. But they are much better than they were. And with Cam Newton's running ability, Jack, I know you said he's washed up as a quarterback. He ran for 12 touchdowns last year. And his throwing numbers, they weren't great, but he was also throwing to nobodies, as we mentioned. If he can just be good enough and he can run the way he ran last year, there's no reason why they'll be a much better offense. I don't love their offense, but I like it. I like what they have. And I think it's important, too, that they moved off quickly those 2 tight ends they drafted. They realized that was a mistake. They realized that they were done. And they're going to have a lot better weapons this year. Even if they don't really upgrade the receiver spot again, they're going to be so much better.
Yeah.
First of all, enough with this 2 tight end thing. That pissed me off so much earlier. 2 guys that were initially Bills targets are now 2 guys that are joining the opposite of. First, stop it, Aiden. I don't tolerate anything that these can't stand this team. Can you just go away for once, please? But listen, the Patriots got a good team. First of all, the Chris Carson report, if that's true, then that's great. Another target that I would love on the Bills, possibly going to the Patriots. They got a defense that's going to be coming back stronger next year. And even with those opt-outs last year, I still thought that they had a good defense, especially especially those games against the Ravens and the Chiefs. I thought I still will argue that if Brian Hoyer wasn't the quarterback of the Patriots that game, the Patriots would have put up a better game.
Oh, yeah.
The Patriots defense kept them in that game. That Patriots defense now with Chung and Hightower coming back is going to be better. The 2 tight end set is going to work, and it's going to be painful to watch.
And it fits Cam too, Dean. Remember, what did he do?
Cam loves passing to his tight ends.
Exactly. Greg Olsen was his best player that he ever had with him. So
you got that. You got good depth receivers besides Adam Edelman. You got Aguilar, who had a good year with the Raiders last year. Kendrick Bourne's a speedster himself. I don't think that they're the best team, the AFC East, but I still think that they could be a wild card team.
Yeah.
The question is really the quarterback. It all depends on quarterback play. Now,
Yeah,
of course, Cam Newton had nobody passing to him last year, but I still believe that his arm is cooked, and I still believe that some of the blame has to go on him. So obviously the guy could run the ball, but I think quarterback play is a major factor and a major question mark for the Patriots heading into this year. It all depends on Cam Newton.
I think we can all agree that this season, the New England season, how far they can truly go all depends on Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be fascinating.
Or whoever they end up with at quarterback. And again, they're at the 12th overall pick. They could still be drafting a guy. It's not out of the realm of possibilities for Mac Jones to fall to 12 or Justin Fields. Both of them have that potential. And the 12th pick is also trade capital. There's still a lot that the Patriots could be doing at the quarterback position. I don't think it's set in stone that Newton's the starter.
Yeah, I can see them possibly they want Garoppolo. I can totally see them trying to do something with that. But I don't know. I think the Bills are probably still going to win that division. I think even still with all the moves they made, the Bills are still a better team. They're well coached, and they can still make some improvement on their roster. So let's move on. Are there any notable signings that you guys liked that really stood out?
Can we talk about the Saints? They're super fascinating.
Sure.
All right. I mean, we can talk a little bit about Drew Brees, but I am so happy. About
the Taysom Hill 4-year, $140 million contract. Taysom Hill signed a 4 years, $140 million deal. Second quarterback in history to sign for 4 years, $140 million, up there with Russell Wilson.
And he's got,
how is he making that money? That is the worst.
No. Okay. So before we get, I just want to say, I don't know if you guys I looked into this whole thing. So basically what it is the second, third, and fourth year of that contract, completely voidable. The Saints are not planning on paying him any of that money.
But this year he's making $70 million.
He's being guaranteed about $13 million this year. 1-3, not 3-0. And that's the money he's going to be making in 2021. 2021. And then the rest of that money is just to save cap space. It is all to save cap. In signing him to that extension, they saved $7.5 million. So I think it's a genius move.
We saw it too with Brady, right? He had the same
Brady
thing.
Signed a very similar thing.
4-year extension, and it's all voidable, but I think except for the first year.
Exactly. So it's a 4-year extension that is only going to pay for 1 year.
Yeah. I love it. I love what the Saints did. I mean,
if you look at the Saints cap space before this offseason, you were going to say the Saints are, in hell. There's no way the Saints are going to be able to field a team next year. And miraculously, they did it. They're below the $100 million cap, whatever that they were in before. 25 million of that was from Breeze, and then it was about 50 million from cutting and trading players, and about 30 million from restructuring contracts. So that's pretty freaking impressive. And all things considered, the Saints didn't lose that much. They kept the key pieces. They kept Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
And Demario Davis. I think those are the four most important pieces. And they were able to bring back Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. So they lost some nice guys that I would have loved to keep, in Sanders and in Janoris Jenkins.
Losing Hendrickson really
and
hurt.
Hendrickson is disappointing.
Yeah.
But all in all, I am ecstatic about the way this offseason went for the Saints, except, of course, Drew Brees retiring. It's understandable. I saw it coming. Everybody knew it was going to happen. It's just sad. I don't want to get all sentimental, but he's the reason I started loving the Saints. I'm still going to be loving the Saints. He's still the greatest quarterback to ever play the game of football. And I'm going to miss him. He had a good career.
Now we get to see starter Jameis. Let's go.
I'm excited to see Jameis.
We don't know that. What if
Jameis is going to have a monster season. I'm calling it right now.
Stop it.
I agree. Jameis is going over 5,000 yards again,
He
but
might.
I'm still predicting the Saints miss the playoffs.
I think, Aiden, if there's one thing the Saints really need to address in the draft, and losing Emmanuel Sanders hurt, they need to find a speedy wide receiver, because I think Jameis is really, really good with those types of guys that'll go down the field and make difficult catches, 20, 30, 40 yards down the field. That's what he really thrives at. I don't think he's Breeze, where he wants to go find Michael Thomas 14 times a game in the slot.
Yeah.
On a slant route or anything. So if they can go get someone speedy in like the first 3 rounds, let's say, who's an impact player from the beginning, that would be huge for Jameis's development and fitting him into this offense. I think that's really what they need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I can see the Saints having a losing record this year, especially if that doesn't happen, Noah. But there's still some guys open on the market. Just getting someone fast. Yeah.
I agree with most of what you said. Aiden, do you think they're going to have an open QB competition between Taysom and Jameis in training camp, or do you think the job is definitely Jameis?
I don't think the job is definitely Jameis's, but I think the job is Jameis's, if that makes sense. I don't think they're going to go outright and commit to Jameis right away.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think Taysom Hill is a better quarterback than Jameis Winston. That being said, I think Jameis Winston gives the Saints a better chance of winning, because when you have Taysom Hill in at quarterback, you can't put Taysom Hill in at tight end. You can't put him in at running back. You can't put him in as an option player. You lose all that versatility. It was the same problem with the Browns with Terrell Pryor a couple of years ago. When he went in at quarterback, they lost their best receiver. So,
He went to the Jets and sucked.
You can't exactly. I think it hurts the Saints more to have Taysom Hill starting because of losing that versatility. Dean, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to ask you now with Jameis Winston possibly being a starter, do you think he's going to do 50 touchdowns and 50 picks like he did in Tampa Bay?
I could see it. I don't think 50. I think 50 picks might be a little high. I don't think somebody physically.
But you get it.
I don't think somebody could physically throw 50 picks in a season and not get cut.
It's weird.
Sean Payton is going to cut down on those. Sean Payton,
I agree.
Smart to allow that to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you.
I like James Winston, and I think he has a lot of potential, especially with this Saints team. And I like Jameis Winston's deep ball, so I think he could help stretch the field more.
Exactly. And when you have guys like Alvin Kamara and Adam Troutman, who are great at catching, dump offs, and you have guys like Michael Thomas, who, he's a slants guy. It's hard to throw picks on those. The picks are going to come on the deep throws, where he's a lot less accurate, and where we don't have anybody excelling at it. But it's going to be a good season for him. I would not be surprised to see a 4,500 plus yard season.
Yeah, it's very possible. I think. Do you think Kamara gets? Do you think this? I think going into the season, I feel like without Drew, I think Kamara is going to be relied on a lot more than normally. Can you see him getting like 35 touches a game?
I definitely could. I think he's going to be getting a lot more touches off of just like little check down passes.
Yeah,
and they're going to be running a lot of screens, especially at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
Plus, Jameis is, he's not a mobile quarterback, but he's a lot more mobile than Drew Brees is. So being able to have that, the option to run option plays, that's going to be nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the Saints. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they could be a fringe playoff team. Like similar to the Patriots, I think a lot of their success depends on how well Jameis is going to perform.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk about a couple other teams. I guess let's talk about the Jets. Noah, what are your thoughts on what the Jets have done so far?
Oh God. They're awful at this whole free agency thing. It's just they're so bad at it. And the moves they actually made, it's a funny thing about this. The moves they actually made, I like. I mean, adding Corey Davis, he's a good receiver. He's coming off his best year. Carl Lawson is a fantastic pass rusher and an emerging young guy. But the Jets needed more than just 2 impact players, and they lost out on the guys they needed most. They needed Corey Linsley, and they needed Joe Thuney, and they didn't get either one. And according to what we heard, they made a run at Thuney, but didn't even try on Linsley. And it's like, what are you doing? I mean,
Lindsley,
really, this is the best center in the NFL possibly, and you have a giant hole in the interior of your offensive line, and you don't even make the call. So I didn't get that, and they have still a massive need on their offensive line, if not multiple needs. This was where they were weakest last year. Sam Darnold got pummeled each of the last 3 seasons, and they've never done anything significant and substantial to help him. And I don't care if it's going to be Sam or Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or Deshaun Watson or whoever the quarterback's going to be. They need someone or multiple people even that are studs up there that are going to protect him. And if it's just Mekhi Becton, you're not really going to have much success on your offensive line, and the quarterback is still going to get beat up. So they didn't make a move, and they'll be better going after the quarterback. They'll have more weapons. I actually like their receivers now. I think Davis, Mims, and Crowder will be a really nice big 3 at wide receiver. But if you don't have an offensive line, it doesn't matter, and they have not done a good enough job building for him. They've tried in free agency. They failed last offseason. They tried in the draft. They hit on Becton. But you have to do more than just one move, and we've seen it with the winning teams. Cleveland, they've done a ton for Baker Mayfield. The Buccaneers, they did a ton for Brady. We're seeing Kansas City adding Thuney. They're doing a lot for Mahomes on the offensive line. To be a winning team, offensive line is a crucial part. And the teams that don't have one end up like Seattle and Houston, where you're in turmoil and your quarterback wants to leave because he's just getting hit too much. So the question now is, what are the Jets going to do? Are they going to use one of their first-round picks on a lineman? Are they going to make a trade? Are they going to continue to search the market to see what other free agents are out there? All possibilities, but they didn't hit on the home run targets, and that is really disappointing.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you said. I think it was ridiculous they didn't even go after Lindsley. I completely did not understand that one. I thought he was such a perfect fit for this team and what they needed. A veteran center who's played in big games and big moments, and be a mentor for some of the younger guys. I thought that would have been a perfect fit. Thuney, I mean, I can understand. I mean, did I want him? Obviously, absolutely, I wanted him. But at the same time, I don't blame him for not coming here. He's going to get paid probably the same amount of money as he would have made. He would probably make the same amount of money with the Jets that he would have made with the Chiefs. And he has a chance to win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. And the Jets, they'll be lucky if they can be a game under 500. So I don't blame him for.
Not me neither.
They'll be lucky if they can win a game.
Why can't I think of his name right now? Dean, who's the guy I got from the Bengals?
Lawson.
Yeah.
Carl Lawson.
Yeah, I was thinking Dawson. I knew that wasn't right though. I like the signing. I thought $15 million was a little high for a guy who only had 5.5 sacks. I know he had a lot of QB hits. Maybe Robert Saleh can unlock. We've seen what he's done with good talent with the defensive line.
I trust Robert Saleh with something like that. You know, when you got a coach like Robert Saleh who's such a great defensive mind,
yeah,
I trust that he knows this guy can be something special.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I like that signing. Corey Davis, I don't hate the signing, but I'm not happy with it just because, in my opinion, I feel there's better options out there, and you chose to go with a secondary aspect. Like my first choice with the people that were on the market was obviously Galladay. I would have much rather had him. I prefer Juju. He's a little younger, but also in my mind, we've seen Juju. We know he's capable of being like, he could be a 1,500-yard guy, 115 catches. We know he's capable of doing that. So, like, I like that. And also, I would have preferred Curtis Samuel. He really impressed me last year. He could have been a very nice piece, like a Swiss Army knife, kind of what Deebo Samuel was for the Niners. So I would have preferred something like that. And the other notable move we made, what was his name? Jared Davis, right?
Yeah, I mean he'll be a useful inside linebacker, I guess, but
yeah, probably
he lost his way in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, Saleh's probably a better defensive coach, so maybe he can figure something out. We got a couple Davises. We got Ashton Davis. We got Jared Davis.
Corey Davis.
Okay, and Corey Davis. We got a lot of Davises on the Jets.
I will say, Jack, we were talking about the offensive linemen, so I just looked it up, just some of the guys who are left. I actually think one of the areas the Jets are going to have to really look at veterans who got cut from other teams recently, like a Rodney Hudson. He makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, Rodney Hudson.
From the Raiders, a Pro Bowl center. So someone like him could really work. Tell me if I'm wrong on this team. Didn't Trey Turner get cut also?
Trey Turner, Gabe Jackson.
Right. So those are the types of players, and they're not going to be as expensive, I don't think. So if the Jets really don't want to splurge on a lineman, which clearly it doesn't look like they really want to, which makes no sense, that's probably where the next place they'll go. A Pro Bowl caliber player who just didn't fit under the salary cap with their previous team.
Yeah, I think we got to get Ronnie Hudson. We got to get some veteran that can just help these guys. And if we don't sign anybody, I think we got to draft Sewell. Just at least the pass rush could be secured. I mean, with Becton and him, like we 2 generational tackles for the next decade. So that could be interesting. One move I definitely want to see us make. I really hope we do sign Richard Sherman. That secondary needs a veteran presence with a lot of experience and a guy who is a great mentor. And it's like Richard Sherman's a guy you bring in when you're really trying to change the culture. He's been a part of winning organizations, and he knows what it takes to win. And I think if this team really needs a player like that, so I hope they get Richard Sherman.
And they have more holes than that, Jack. I mean, they need to find a tight end because the kid from last year, Herndon's not really the guy. I don't know what they're going to do at running back. If Frank Gore's not going to be back, so it's going to be the
no Frank Gore.
No, but so it's going to be the young kid from Florida, and what else? I mean, they have a ton of holes.
I mean,
and
Ryan was all right. Who was the other one? The guy when Gore was out, he really stepped up. I can't.
Johnson.
Johnson.
He impressed me a little bit last year.
But you don't have a franchise-changing running back. Are you going to find that in the draft? Like,
you don't need a franchise-changing running back, though. Really, like, not every team needs one.
I agree with you. You don't really need a franchise running back. I think more so if you have a good offensive line, any running back can be solid.
It's great to have, a franchise running back. But look at the last couple teams to win Super Bowls. None of them had one superstar. The Bucks, they had three solid guys. The Chiefs, couple solid guys. Patriots, couple solid guys. That's the way to do it. Teams don't get carried by a running back.
Yeah, I
you look at the Panthers, right? Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the league, and even he can't carry them to a 500 season.
Right.
So a great running back is nice to have, but it's not a necessity.
I'm just making the point they have a lot of holes, honestly. I mean, they just have so many areas of weakness. We'll see what they do.
I agree.
Anybody else you want to talk about? I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Bills. We got to talk about the Bills.
All right.
They haven't done much, but they've done some big things.
Well, they made a big signing today.
And
if John Brown, of course, leaving, but I'll take Emmanuel Sanders. Thank you, Aiden, for giving me Emmanuel Sanders.
You're welcome. Treat him well.
He's going to be good with Diggs, Beasley, and Davis. I think it's going to be a nice receiver lineup. 1 year, $6 million deal. Pretty cheap. I'll take it. But apparently they're in the mix for Zach Ertz after striking out on 2 tight ends that we mentioned earlier. Honestly, I wouldn't mind Zach Ertz, but my concern is, since he's not the same as he used to be, how is he going to be? I do feel like, though, he does bring that veteran presence to the Bills that they need, especially at tight end. They don't have that with Dawson Knox. Don't want to speak much about him. They still have a couple of holes. I like to see them get an edge rusher 100%. I like to see them get a tight end, a running back. Maybe Chris Carson can come to Buffalo, Kenyon Drake, draft a running back. If you get one more running back, it's kind of like what the Chiefs do, what the Bucks do. You get a good group of guys. If Buffalo could get a guy like, let's say, Carson, draft Harris, they can have a lineup like Harris or Carson with Singletary, Moss. It would be like like you mentioned, Aiden, those teams that have a good group of guys and win. Not too many holes on this team, especially the main was retaining the defense, and them retaining Matt Milano was huge. So I think they have to focus more so on the offensive side of the ball with getting a guard, getting a tight end, getting a running back, that type of stuff.
Yep.
I also like to mention, if we can, just talk about some of the quarterbacks. I mean, what Chicago did today was fascinating.
Well, I can't get Wilson.
Andy Dalton. I mean, think about this. You go for Russell Wilson and you come out with Andy freaking Dalton. Like, what are you doing? What kind of
world are the Bears living in where they really think that Andy
expectation versus
Dalton,
reality?
What world are the Bears living in where they think that Andy Dalton is a upgrade over Mitch Trubisky?
He probably isn't, honestly, because of Trubisky's playmaking ability as a runner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Andy has potential. Trubisky's 23.
How this front office still has their jobs, I seriously question.
Oh, Ryan Pace is just he's the worst.
Yeah.
Matt Nagy.
Allen Robinson has said he's not going to sign his franchise tag.
He's out next year 100%. It's poor Allen Robinson has to go through Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, like what Blake Bortles, like what.
And the sad thing is, he's still the best receiver in the league, basically.
Like what a horrible list of quarterbacks to go by.
For years and years, yeah.
It's like, like I said earlier in this, it's with the Cowboys. It's expectation versus reality. Cowboys, Bears, expectation versus reality. Expectation, the rumors of Wilson and Deshaun Watson versus what they actually get, Andy Dalton.
Do you think they could make another quarterback move? Like, are they done? I don't know.
They have to be.
I think next year they do something.
They have to be unless they're drafting someone.
So wait, so let's say Russell Wilson becomes available. They still have to be all in on that, even though they have two quarterbacks.
Oh yes.
100%.
And I know they made an offer and it didn't happen, but let's say something happened later on and the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson situation got worse. I would still think they'd be into it. I have to.
I agree.
So
yeah, very possibly.
And then you had Washington, and they were interesting too. I thought Sam Darnold was someone they would trade for, and they end up with Taylor Heineke and Fitz.
What a great
weird combo.
I was saying this the other day. The thing that I want Washington to do is you go out there, and we've seen running back by committee, but it's time for quarterback by committee. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to send both of them out there next to each other, both under center. You don't know which one's going to get the ball, and you just whichever one ends up with the ball, you're running a different play. And
then they throw
any given moment, you don't know what's happening.
I'm not sure that's smart or legal, but
it's definitely legal to send out two quarterbacks on a play, or even just send one out there and then send the other out as a running back, and you take the snap and then you either throw it or you give it to the other quarterback and they throw it.
Maybe.
Mark my words, we are in an era of NFL innovation. Somebody is going to run like a set of plays with two quarterbacks in the next 5 seasons.
Possibly.
It's going to be a thing.
Let me ask this then. If you think they have these two quarterbacks that could be interchangeable, are they done making a move? Because I said Sam Darnold, there are other names. They have to still be looking, right? I mean, there's no way they're done.
No. But if they don't get anything else, they're in a good place.
Yeah.
So are they the best team in the division right now? Because they might be.
Yes.
It's them or Dallas.
It's I don't think it's even close. Like Dak's the only good part about Dallas. Dak and CD, I guess.
I don't know. I would pick Dallas.
They're paying like 3 players on their team, like freaking half of their salary cap.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's for sure. All right. Any other notable players we want to talk about? All right. Let's do a quick winners and losers. I guess I don't remember who has it, so I'll just.
I'll do whatever you take, Jack.
Yeah. All right. I'll start. My winner. This is kind of just a joke. My winner is the NBA official Scott Foster, because he was lucky that game was over last night because Julius Randle was going for his head. And I think he would have cut it off if he got his hands on him. And he robbed the Knicks of a game. And so he was lucky to escape. So, Scott Foster, you're a lucky man.
My winner is LeBron, and not for basketball reasons, the new part owner of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah!
You got the GOAT.
No, we didn't. Michael Jordan owns the Hornets.
How do you feel about getting the GOAT as the part owner of your baseball team? It's pretty cool, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about with this whole GOAT nonsense.
Yeah, he didn't get the GOAT. What are you talking about?
LeBron, hey, LeBron is basically a GM in basketball. Maybe he'll start to make some actual good moves and not trade away the best player in our team's history.
Yeah, I know.
I'll tell you this, Aiden. Where LeBron James goes, winning follows. So I expect the Red Sox to be very good very quickly.
I called this before this even happened. Red Sox winning the World Series this year.
No, I won't go that far, but they'll be a playoff team in the next 2 years.
I want to go that
Because they're the greatest. Because we got the best manager in the league.
Right.
We got the GOAT.
No GOAT. No GOAT.
Yes, GOAT.
Okay, Aiden, Dean,
Let's
Dean, go for it.
Let's stop this GOAT talk, please. Just anyways. Two winners. The first one is Rick Pitino of Iona. So Rick Pitino, after a while ago, getting his national championship revoked from him due to the stripper scandal at Louisville, is now back at the big dance. He's taken Iona to the big dance. It's great to see a coach like that, who's definitely one of the greater coaches in college, back in the big dance. And of course, Iona College in New York, So my winner is Rick Pitino. My other winner is Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua agreeing on a two fight deal this year, as the two best heavyweights in boxing will be going at it twice this year in 2021 for the belts.
Dean, he's only one of 2 coaches now to take an NCAA, or maybe one of 3. I saw the stat the other day. I can't remember exactly. To take 5 different teams to the NCAA tournament. What a crazy stat.
That's amazing.
I can look up the other 2, but I think it was one of 2 or 3.
Louisville, Iona, and who else was he with?
Kentucky, Providence, I believe, and there's one other school that I'm forgetting. But yeah,
that's a good resume.
Wait, am I doing a winner or a loser?
Just whatever you want.
Just whatever you
All
pick.
right. Well, then my winner is college basketball fans everywhere, because for the first time since 1976, we don't have to watch Duke or Kentucky in March Madness, and that is amazing. My 2 least favorite teams. No, not least favorite teams in sports. 2 least favorite teams in men's basketball. 2 of my 3 least favorite teams in sports. Oh, it is wonderful.
Michigan was your least favorite team.
No, Michigan's probably number 4. Yankees are number 1. No one comes close to that.
I mean, college sports, I thought Michigan was your least favorite, even in college basketball.
More so football. I cannot stand Duke. And then Kentucky just sucks because they're always good, and I don't like that. Duke isn't making it. That's the important part. Let's go.
Respect.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
Hey, also, little thing about our guy Zach Spiker here from Drexel. Before he coached at Drexel, he was the head coach at Army West Point. And him, Bobby Knight, and Mike Krzyzewski are the only 3 head coaches in history to get 65 wins through 5 years with that team.
Wow.
So he is in elite company. Go Bombers.
All right.
Guys, just saw an Instagram post. The Patriots are also signing Bobby Boucher to play linebacker. And of course,
something did come in though from the Patriots, Jack. David Andrews is going to free agency.
He's a good center. Jets could be in on him.
A lot of people could be in on him. He's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this has been another edition of Agree to Disagree. I'm Jack Casello. With me, as always, Noah Schwartz, Dean Gutic, and Aiden Jard. Have a good night.